Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe XRT, the next generation of off-road product from Hyundai, and they are really taking it up a notch with this one. Hop in with me, let's go for a drive off-road. All right, Gearheads, huge thanks to Hyundai for having me out to Tennessee to test these vehicles. Not only am I driving this one here on camera for you right now, but we have also spent some extended time in their top luxury trim, the Calligraphy. So there is a lot of Santa Fe coverage coming from me here on the channel. Be sure and hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so that you don't miss any of our videos covering this brand new vehicle from Hyundai. And there's a lot going into this vehicle outside of the interesting looks of it. I've done a tour of this one from the show floor of the LA Auto Show. So here I really want to talk more about the off-roadability of this. This being a unibody construction, front-wheel drive based crossover, you really don't expect a whole lot from it. And I'm going into this drive with certain expectations. But as we are out here, there are two courses, a mild course, which is what we're on now, turning off of this paved surface into the off-road area past the barn to do some mild off-roading. This is probably what most off-road vehicles see as off-road duty. And then we're going to get into a more advanced course later on at the end of the video where we'll get to test out a little bit more of the hardware put into this one. We do have Hyundai's HTRAC all-wheel drive system. We have a 2.5 liter turbo 4 under the hood. We've got all the traditional things that you would expect. Power to all four wheels, downhill descent control. You can lock it into all-wheel drive. There's some goodies baked into this one, and I am very interested to see exactly how that transfers to real-life scenarios. One of the things I can tell you first and foremost, seat time. Seats, very comfortable. Visibility, very good. This vehicle was designed from the inside out and from the back forward. So a lot of emphasis was placed on making this a 3-row. A lot of emphasis was placed on making that hatch huge, and it grew nearly 6 inches wider, nearly 2 inches taller. They have definitely made this a more accessible vehicle to get in from the rear. Then, of course, you've got the standard 3rd-row vehicle. You've got a lot of new firsts for this, including all-terrain tires, a first for a Hyundai vehicle. The XRT branding is not new here on the Santa Fe. The Santa Cruz, actually, I believe, was the first Hyundai vehicle to wear the XRT branding. I've got good friends that have done a lot of research testing for Hyundai through the Santa Cruz on the Rebel Rally. So go check out my interview with Team Brute Squad of Kristen Shaw and Jill Simonillo. But this is a very interesting vehicle to me because in that interview, after their second running of the Rebel Rally, they told me that Hyundai owned up to the fact that they aren't really an off-road culture. It's a Korean-based company, and they aren't really an off-road heavy culture, which is just absolutely taking the US by storm. So it is a learning process for a company that has proven over the last decade or so that they are willing to invest, that they are willing to follow where consumers are leading. So much of what was told to us in the press conference this morning before setting out to drive was how consumer focused a lot of what Hyundai is doing. Whether it be the design ideas in here. We've got side-by-side Qi wireless chargers in here. We've got room for purses and bags, and we've got, not on this model, but we've got a black light in here to do some sanitization of smartphones and devices. So there really is a lot built into this. This XRT model, in addition to those all-terrain tires, we also get about an inch inch point three to be precise of extra ground clearance in this one. So they're really putting in some of the work. I'm not going to say they've done it all. I don't believe the HTRAC system is any different in this than the all-wheel drive Calligraphies that we've been driving this morning. But given that the wheels and tires, the tires specifically, do all of the contact work, are doing the heavy lifting of the vehicle, it is nice to see them invest in putting a proper tire package on their off-road focused vehicle. As we set off uphill in this one, I will remind you, yes, this is a front wheel drive based platform. It is unibody. So think of it more like last generation Ford Explorer, things like that. But again, they have put the work into their HTRAC system and to wheels and tires, which gives us a look at this massive hill climb that I'm about to embark on. So we do have auto hold, which I know will come in handy. Yeah, foot off the brake here. And then we've got the four-wheel drive lock feature in this. And I'm going to go ahead and page through the screens here in the middle just to see where that all-wheel drive traction is going here in this one. But yes, I'm looking up a very steep, rocky incline. Very interested to see exactly how this unibody front-wheel drive based system handles this. You can see, I can see here in front of me, equal power going to all four tires as we're working through some tough terrain for a lot of all-wheel drive systems. So it is really nice to see exactly what this is capable of. I would say this is the most extreme a crossover shopper is probably going to do outside of Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep Grand Cherokee really is kind of the anomaly in that unibody realm of off-roaders, in that, it's been around. It's got the Jeep heritage built into it. It's got trail rated badges and things like that on it. It's got an air ride adjustable suspension. But I can say I was a little disappointed in that vehicle. I feel Jeep Grand Cherokee kind of overpromised and under-delivered, whereas here with this Hyundai Santa Fe, its looks definitely deliver a fairly large promise, especially here in this kind of, it's a very similar color, exterior color to the Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk my wife and I just owned for 7 years. And there's a lot of promise here. Again, wheels and tires, HTRAC all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive lock, which in this system basically tells it, okay, always send power to the rear. You can split that torque up to 50% in the rear, 50% up in the front, making sure, again, the torque is keeping you propelled forward and keeping you moving. I will say, again, a lot of vehicles probably could have done that, but the amount of comfort I experienced in this vehicle, the ride and handling, the noise, vibration, and harshness of this vehicle, very well buttoned together, very calm and compliant, and taking you to a scenic campsite is exactly what Hyundai wants you to do. That is the story they want to tell. We heard from many engineers and designers that have, on a whim, taken one of these out, and no tents, no real camping gear outside of an air mattress purchased on Amazon, and just camped out in the back of their vehicle. So much emphasis was put in to the rear design of this that this is exactly what Hyundai wants you to do. Explore a lesser known trail, go out and find a remote area, and live life, experience nature. All the 6 new colors of this model line for 2024, they're all inspired by nature, not only in their naming, but also in their hues. You should be able to witness some of these colors for yourself just looking around nature. Another thing, going back to that large opening hatch and camping back there, they wanted to bring the outdoors in. They wanted you to be able to camp in the back of your Santa Fe, open up that huge hatch, and just have a panoramic view of nature around you. This vehicle really was a design love letter to nature for them. And again, we have the 2.5 liter Turbo 4 in this one. The hybrid model with its 1.6 liter hybrid system is coming later. No plug-in hybrids are promised at this point, but I'm seeing fairly decent numbers on the window sticker here from the EPA, north of 20 mpg on the highway, which is fairly impressive given the overall size of this vehicle. It's very roomy in here, very spacious, without just feeling large, and it does not feel like Jeep Grand Wagoneer huge. That actually works to its benefit, being able to meander down some of these trails. The steering is light. It's just like piloting through a school pickup line if school for your kiddo is the great outdoors. Whoop, ruts. Boop, boop. Yep, the ride in this is very compliant. It will not jostle you. It doesn't upset anything in the vehicle. It doesn't upset the driving character of the vehicle to hit a bump. It is very well planted. And then just the overall sound deadening that they've got on this vehicle. It is a very quiet ride here in the XRT model. Again, with all-terrain tires, which typically are noisier in an environment that is typically noisier, in a vehicle that is typically an echo chamber because it's just a big square cave in here. So I am very impressed with the build quality of this and the ride quality. Very well done. Now, as we are coming back down from elevation, we are going to try downhill descent control. So come to a complete stop here. We've got a sign in front of us warning us to do downhill descent control. I should get a notification, there we go, in the instrument cluster to let me know, hey, we're going to do it. It's holding me here because I do still have that auto hold on, but just give it a little bit of throttle. And now the vehicle is doing all of this for me. I am doing nothing. My feet are off the pedals, and you can see on the camera exactly the angle at which we are descending this hill. It is doing a very good job keeping us going slow and steady. Nothing is really upsetting this vehicle on this rather easy loop. I was just in Ford Bronco Raptor. Obviously, this ain't that, but for what most consumers need, want, and desire, this is going to be a very, very good option for those wanting a slightly more adventurous vehicle. But I'm going to go ahead and take it off, and we'll see exactly how much faster we start speeding up. So just showing you just how much the vehicle was working to keep us slow and steady, crawling down there. 2 to 3 miles an hour. We're going 12 now. It could have done that faster without problem. Again, talking about the ride quality in this being excellent and quiet and calm and soaking up the bumps and the terrain underneath us, which I do believe is a good segue to doing the more technical course. As we start down the more technical side of things, this is just going to be a slower course. I do know that there's some underbody protection in this one. I don't want to explore that firsthand, but I can here. Yeah, it's definitely working to maintain traction underneath me. It's doing a lot. I will say one shortcoming I feel of this off-road version, the XRT, is we don't get the 360 cameras. Hyundai does excellent work with 360 cameras in their vehicles, and I kind of wish we had it here in this XRT, just so I had something forward-facing that I could see over and around the hood in front of me. That is a slight misstep, I believe, here with me in this model. I do have the federally mandated reverse camera back there, which is staying on even at speed, but I feel, especially doing a course that changes elevation, that kind of has this winding, meandering trail around with this very square hood up in front of me, I could use a front-facing camera. I do know that cameras typically flatten everything out, but they at least allow you to see where your wheels are pointed and give you a trajectory outside of seeing a big flat hood as the only thing in front of you, especially going uphill more. As we get back down onto more level terrain, we've got some mud back here. Again, really testing out the four-wheel drive. I never took four-wheel drive lock off, so really making sure and testing out this 50-50 torque split in this one. I can feel the vehicle adjusting to the fact that it's some slimy, nasty mud underneath me. I can feel the vehicle moving around as the texture underneath gets a little bit sloppier. But as far as forward momentum, it was able to keep it up absolutely no problem. The HTRAC system in this is a very good system. And then again, going to the ride and handling of this, it is a solid platform for sure. Yeah. The real miss for me is 360 cameras. Even just a front-facing camera. I don't need cameras over the wheels as much, but when competitors like Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek give you some additional cameras for visibility, it would be nice to see here in this first real three-row crossover off-road attempt from Hyundai. So that is definitely something I could see them adding in the short term. Give them a couple years, we'll probably have at least a forward-facing camera, if not the full 360 camera setup in XRT moving forward. Again, you know, it is baby steps. You got to walk before you can crawl and things like that. The whole company ethos is changing and learning and adapting to what it means to go off-road, what it means to overland. And they definitely got the interior vehicle side figured out when it comes to overlanding and just making it very roomy back in the back. Now they've just got to work on some of the features and options here in this XRT model for situations where, yeah, you need a little bit better visibility. Here's an area where having that 50-50 torque split really came in handy. We've got one wheel completely off the ground. First it was front driver, then back driver. And I intentionally went slow on that just to see what the braking would do, what HTRAC would do. And I definitely heard that ABS step in to stop that spinning wheel to maintain traction at the same end of the vehicle, moving and keeping me moving forward. So very good, very light off-road system. Don't get me wrong, this is not the Bronco Raptor I was in last week. This is not a Jeep Wrangler competitor. And like I said, it's hardly a Jeep Grand Cherokee competitor when you talk about Jeep Grand Cherokee's adaptive air ride suspension and things like that. But this is a very solid offering. I'm looking at this hill that I'm climbing. I've got a rock jutting out right in the middle of this hill climb. So there is some technicality going in here, and we're going to see, yep, or climb that and test your approach, departure, and breakover with some of the different terrain out here. Very good at keeping me moving forward, which is really the ultimate goal here. Looks like we're going to get twisted up just a little bit more again right here. Got a wheel in the air as we're going uphill. Throwing some rocks, but yep, again, wheel in the air. Yeah, still maintaining momentum. Got to give it a little more throttle. Again, we've got that 2.5 liter underneath the hood. Still maintaining forward momentum. Again, that is all that really matters. As long as you are maintaining forward momentum, you are in a good position. And the HTRAC all-wheel drive is doing a fantastic job of ensuring that I've got that forward momentum. I'm not so much hurting for wheelbase on this. They did stretch the wheelbase 2 inches. They stretched the whole vehicle about 2 inches and really invested that space on the inside very well. But as far as maneuvering around these trees, I'm not hurting for maneuverability whatsoever. Very easy steering, very obvious where the vehicle is going to go from the steering effort and how it tracks as you turn the wheel more and more. No surprises here with the steering effort which I know this stuff doesn't really translate all that well onto camera, watching it on a cell phone or something like that. But the degree of incline that we've got going on here does really challenge many vehicles and put into work a lot of physics. You can see this one, just with slow steady throttle, was giving up on me a little bit. So you just got to give it a little bit more throttle to maintain that forward momentum. But it does show just how much work you are having to do going up such a steep incline here in this one. All the way around, I am very impressed with this vehicle. It is a strong, solid effort in a market that is more and more obsessed with doing things off-road, getting out into nature. With overlanding, I think the back of this vehicle is an absolute slam dunk when it comes to overlanding, spending time in your vehicle, whether it be in the seats or with the seats folded. They have done a bang-up job there. There are a few misses for me, most notably in off-road visibility with the lack of 360 cameras. That is something I could very quickly see them pivoting on and changing to make this vehicle that much better. There were some instances where I did have to give this thing just a little bit more throttle, going up some fairly steep inclines, but for the most part, this is going to make a lot of people very happy in the off-road segment. Don't get me wrong, this is not a serious off-roader, but this is a serious contender in the soft-roader market. This is a good, strong entry from Hyundai as the brand pivots more towards what consumers are looking for, towards that outdoor adventurous lifestyle. It definitely does not hurt things at all that this very much does look like a Land Rover Defender. It very much mimics some very legendary off-roaders, and the brand can tell me all that they want, that this was a ground up design for them. They did not spec any of those different vehicles, but whoever picked this steering wheel out absolutely had some time behind the wheel of a Land Rover product. You cannot convince me otherwise of that fact. Otherwise, you're not gonna mistake this for a Land Rover. I really loved the Defender that we recently had. This is a good bargain priced vehicle like that, in that, yes, most off-road vehicles spend more time on-road, and this really does not make the sacrifices on-road that you would expect of a vehicle capable of doing off-road things. It is still very calm and comfortable in here. The ride is not harsh. It doesn't beat you up. And it also isn't overly squishy. We were in the Honda Pilot Trail Sport, and I just felt like that was too floaty-boaty, making up for its off-road capability with its suspension. This definitely feels more planted, less like piloting a boat over some rough waves. This definitely feels more taut. And then having proper tires on this to maintain traction is a good step in the right direction for Hyundai. Huge thanks once more to Hyundai for having me out to Tennessee to sample this one for you and a Calligraphy. If you want to see more from us, you can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, YouTube, everything at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. Absolutely hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you'll be notified every time a future video drops from us. I can't wait to get these back on our home turf. I'm definitely leaning more towards the Calligraphy because, let's face it, I don't do a lot of off-roading in crossovers. If I'm actually going to venture off-road, I want something body on frame, purpose built for the job. But this one is absolutely capable. They've put the money in most of the right places. Again, shortcomings on the camera with the visibility. Other than that, until next time, gearheads.